he said the summoning of riverine idols. And from here, we will go into the last part of this prophecy where the Lord again is speaking of Beyonce Knowles Carter. This entire last part of the prophecy is about her. The Lord says that this woman summons riverine idols. Now, I am not exactly up to date on what this woman does, but her marketing is prolific. And so we all here in the United States, we see it. And what you have seen, I think some years ago, is that this woman would go to, I don't know, lakes and rivers and have photo shoots where she's coming out of the lake with hardly anything on and coming out of the river. And one of the gods that she said she is summoning, or one of the gods that she appeared to be modeling, is this being called Oshun. I think this spirit belongs to the nation of Nigeria. I may not be saying it right. It might be Osun. It might be Oshun. And it's spelled Oshun. And this is a river deity. This is a river god. And imagine something like fury, definitely anger, or a hot chest impression coming out of the Lord as he expresses anger and displeasure at having this woman modeling to a massive, millions strong online community the worship of river beings, which God hates. These creatures, marine spirits, mermaids, and everything attached to them are extremely lustful, territorial, wicked, and pernicious beings that when a marine spirit attaches to you, you will have the fight of your life on your hands before you get rid of it. He says that she summons the riverine idols. This means to do with rivers, lakes, streams, and all water bodies. He says this is Beyonce's forte. She is summoning riverine demons over all her followers. And that is why they are so lustful and promiscuous. She also participates in sun goddess worship. When you worship them, you are participating in sun worship. And he says you hand over to them your worship. Now, God is saying that Beyonce participates in sun worship. So she's handing over to the luminaries, dignitaries, personalities, and the powers of the hosts of heaven, all who follow her or join in covenant with her. How do you join in covenant with Beyonce Knowles? You're watching her. You're loving her. You're her fan. You're participating in her concerts. You're following her on Twitter and Instagram and all the little following places. You're buying her music. And you have given her a seat in your heart. Promiscuous, he says she is. And that transfers over to you, the follower. He says Beyonce is a Sodomite. This is one who has sex in the backside. And this spirit of submitting to have the back door open is now prevalent in the United States among women. And I spoke of this in the very distressing series of prophecies that are called the Sodomy Ritual, where I said that it was a very difficult period for me last year, June to about September, the things that the Lord was leading me into the understanding of. And one of the things that I found when I was looking into it is that U.S. doctors are actually frustrated and angry with the rise of anal sex in the United States. Because he said, not he, but the doctors, the information that I was finding online is that doctors are complaining at the large number of women that are presenting at U.S. hospitals with complications because of anal sex, which God strongly condemns and hates. And he says this woman practices it. And since following her means that you are gaining and pulling from her all of the things that she is transmitting to you, the follower. He says that submitting to this ritual to have the back door broken is prevalent in the U.S. among women. It is not a trend. It is a spirit. And here are the rest of the things the Lord says. Beyonce is a sorceress. This is one that is higher than a witch. A sorceress is one who has actually progressed through the levels of witchcraft until she is handling very, very mighty forms of power. He said Beyonce is a witch This means that if she had to come down to the lowest level of the starter ones who are dealing with little crystals and salt, she also knows how to do that. She casts spells. I spoke of the prophecy where I said that I saw this woman at a massive concert and she was singing and in the hype of the moment with her dancers. And I saw golden numbers and golden letters and golden symbols coming out of her mouth in a spiral. And the Lord said to me, look, Celestial, they hear lyrics, but she's actually cursing the people. And this is how she curses the Church of Jesus Christ. That means that the Church of Jesus Christ is right there with the unsaved people in front of her, listening to her, receiving what comes out of her mouth. And so they also participate in the curses. The Lord says that Beyonce speaks death. The Lord says that Beyonce speaks curses. The Lord says that Beyonce and her husband, Jay-Z, have been present when children are harmed, that children have gone to their death and they have been present. And the last thing the Lord says is that he will strike her down. And I just brought the prophecy, but for a few days ago, where I said that I saw a black woman with blonde hair turning in the heavens with her arms outstretched like a doll, turning, and she was wearing a black bodysuit with her toes pointed down and no feet. A bodysuit is something like a swimsuit. And she was wearing no pants or anything like that. And she was turning in the heavens. And then a cord, something like a cord or a rope, but it was not that, was put on one hand. And she was yanked very hard and she fell out of the heavens. And the Lord said that it is the time where he has sent forth a word. He has sent forth a command for human beings who have risen above the station that is allowed for human beings. There's no problem with being excellent at your craft. But I always said that when you hear God is judging someone, you should be silent in the presence of the Lord, because it means that God has access to information that goes on in the inside of that person and at the back in that person's life that you who see the person in the front don't know anything about.